I always thought imitation was supposed to be the sincerest form of flattery. But when it comes from your supposed best friend, it feels more like someone is peeling away pieces of your identity, layer by layer, until there's nothing left that's truly yours. I'm Emily Carter, 26 years old, marketing manager, and, up until recently, someone who prided herself on her individuality. My best friend, or, I guess I should say, former best friend, was Sophie Bennett, also 26, and the kind of girl everyone gravitates toward. She's bubbly, charismatic, and can charm her way through any situation. We've been inseparable since sophomore year of college, bonded over late-night study sessions and cheap wine. Back then, I thought we just had a lot in common. I didn't realize she was copying me. It started small. I dyed my hair chestnut brown in junior year because I wanted a fresh look. Sophie followed me to the salon a week later and came out with the exact same color. Twinsies, she'd squealed, hugging me. I'd laughed it off because, well, what else could I do? We were friends. Friends borrow clothes, share playlists, pick up little habits from each other. But by senior year, Sophie had the same hair color, the same style, even the same major. I switched from journalism to marketing after I realized I loved branding campaigns. Sophie, who had been firmly planted in communications, suddenly discovered she loved marketing too. I brushed it off as coincidence. Fast forward to now, Sophie and I both live in Boston, and things have escalated far beyond hair dye and matching majors. 2 months ago, I adopted a rescue cat named Milo, a shy little tabby who curls up on my laptop whenever I work from home. Not even a week later, Sophie showed up at brunch with photos of a nearly identical cat. "Meet Millie," she'd gushed, shoving her phone in my face. I forced a smile, but something in my chest twisted. That was my thing. I'd always wanted a rescue pet. Sophie had teased me about it for months, saying she wasn't a cat person. Suddenly, she's posting Instagram stories about being a proud cat mom. The breaking point came last weekend. I'd been dating Ryan Matthews, a software engineer I met on Bumble, for 3 months. Things were going well, and I'd finally decided to introduce him to Sophie. We went out for drinks at a rooftop bar, and the second Sophie saw him, I noticed something shift. She turned up the charm, laughing a little too hard at his jokes, touching his arm when she talked, and casually mentioning she just happened to live a few blocks from his office. The next day, Ryan texted me. "Hey, not sure if I should mention this, but Sophie just DM'd me about grabbing coffee sometime. She said it was about career stuff, but it felt off." That was it. I saw red. I replayed every interaction with Sophie in my head like a detective piecing together evidence. The matching outfits she'd started wearing. The fact she'd ordered the exact same planner I'd been raving about. How she joined my gym, even though it's 30 minutes from her apartment. It wasn't flattery anymore. It was creepy. I called Sophie that night, pacing my apartment while Milo watched me from the couch. "Hey, Em," she chirped when she picked up. "What's up?" I took a deep breath. "Why did you DM Ryan about coffee?" There was a pause. "Oh, that? Don't be weird. I just wanted to ask him about software stuff. You know, I'm thinking of switching fields." "You're what?" I nearly dropped my phone. "Yeah," she said breezily. "Marketing is great, but I've been feeling like tech is where it's at. Ryan's so smart, I thought he could give me pointers." I was shaking. "Sophie, do you realize how this looks? You're DMing my boyfriend behind my back." "Em, you're overreacting. It's just coffee." That was the moment I decided this friendship might be over. But I didn't say it, not yet. Instead, I hung up with a polite excuse and sat in my dim apartment, heart pounding. Sophie had crossed a line. I thought back to all the red flags I'd ignored over the years. The time she bought the same dress I'd been saving up for. The fact she'd once jokingly said, "We're basically the same person. You're just like the beta version, and I'm the upgrade." Back then, I'd laughed. Now, I wasn't laughing. By Monday, I was dodging Sophie's calls. She left me a string of voicemails. "Em, are you mad at me? Come on, you know I didn't mean anything by it. Don't be dramatic, babe. Let's do brunch this weekend." Each message made me feel sicker. Then came the kicker. I logged into Instagram, and there she was, posting a mirror selfie in my exact outfit. The same floral dress, the same leather jacket, the same boots I'd saved up for months to buy. The caption read, "New look, who's this?" And the comments? Full of people telling her how original her style was. I slammed my phone down. This wasn't a friendship anymore. This was an identity theft in slow motion. I knew I had to confront her, once and for all. But a small, fearful voice in my head whispered, "What if she doesn't take it well? What if she turns everyone against you?" Sophie had always been more charismatic than me. She was the kind of person people defended instinctively. I didn't care anymore. I was done being her blueprint. That night, I started drafting a text. Not the kind of text that says, let's talk, but the kind that draws a clear boundary. I stared at the blinking cursor for an hour, Milo purring beside me. My hands trembled, but I typed anyway. Sophie, I need some space. I'm not okay with the way you've been copying me, messaging Ryan, and making everything I do feel like it's yours. I don't think this friendship is healthy anymore. I hit send before I could chicken out. Sophie's reply came 5 minutes later. Wow. Seriously? You're being psychotic. I thought we were best friends. You're jealous because I'm prettier and more successful. This is pathetic. I stared at the message, my stomach twisting. And just like that, I knew, this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I thought blocking Sophie's number would bring me peace. It didn't. For the first time in years, I woke up without a good morning text from her. There was no meme sent just because, no link to a dress she'd totally see me wearing. I told myself I wanted space, but I still found myself unlocking my phone first thing in the morning, half expecting her name to pop up. Instead, I was met with silence. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt like I was waiting for a storm. Em? Are you okay? Ryan asked one evening. We were curled up on my couch, Milo perched like a warm loaf on Ryan's lap. Yeah, I'm fine, I said, but I wasn't convincing anyone. Ryan gave me that look, the kind that says, don't lie to me. He gently set Milo down and turned to face me. Is this about Sophie again? He asked softly. I sighed. I just don't understand how it got this bad. We were best friends for years. She knew everything about me. And now? Now she's crossing boundaries, Ryan finished. I nodded. It's like she doesn't want to be my friend anymore, she wants to be me. Ryan frowned. I don't think you're overreacting. That DM thing was weird. And she's been copying everything you do. That's not normal. Hearing him validate my feelings helped a little, but it didn't change the gnawing anxiety in my chest. Sophie wasn't someone who took rejection well. She'd always been dramatic about even minor disagreements. I had no idea what she'd do now that I'd basically told her to get out of my life. The first sign came 3 days later. I was at work, wrapping up a campaign proposal for a big client, when my boss Karen strolled over with a curious smile. Emily, she said, leaning against my cubicle wall. Funny coincidence, do you know a Sophie Bennett? My stomach dropped. Yeah. Why? Karen chuckled. She sent me a LinkedIn message this morning. Said you two were best friends and she'd love to connect. Mentioned she's interested in switching into marketing. I told her we'd keep an eye out if we have any openings. I forced a smile, but inside I was screaming. Sophie had been unemployed for months, she'd been fired from a PR firm last year, though she told everyone she quit. I thought she was taking time to figure herself out. Apparently, she'd decided she wanted my career now too. That's great, I managed to say, my voice tight. Karen patted my shoulder and walked away, humming to herself. I sat there staring at my screen, heart pounding. Sophie wasn't just copying me anymore. She was infiltrating my life. That night, I got an Instagram notification. At Sophie_Bennett tagged you in a photo. I froze. Against my better judgment, I opened it. It was a photo of Sophie sitting at a cafe. She was holding a latte with intricate foam art, smiling at the camera. Her caption read, Morning Grind Hot Beverage Marketing Girly Vibes Briefcase Sparkles. I blinked. That was my exact caption from 2 months ago. Same emoji combination, same coffee shop, even the same angle of the shot. I quickly scrolled through her profile. With each photo, my stomach twisted tighter. There she was in a leather jacket like mine, standing in front of the same Boston mural I'd posted about last week. There she was in a navy wrap dress I'd bought for a networking event. And there was Ryan. A photo of him, not with me, but clearly taken at the rooftop bar where we'd all met. She'd tagged him, too, with a winky face. Ryan, I whispered, shoving my phone at him when he came over the next evening. Look at this. He frowned, scrolling through Sophie's feed. Okay, that's creepy. She really posted that? Yeah, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She's tagging you now. She's posting at all my favorite spots. And did you notice the captions? They're mine. Ryan rubbed his temples. This is beyond toxic. You need to block her everywhere. I already blocked her number, I said, voice cracking. But what if she shows up somewhere? What if she? As if on cue, my phone buzzed. A DM notification from a fake-looking account with no profile picture. Jealousy doesn't look good on you, M. My blood ran cold. Ryan, I whispered, my voice trembling. She's making fake accounts now. Ryan grabbed my phone and immediately screenshot the message. We're saving this. Just in case. I nodded, hugging myself. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak in my apartment made me jump. I kept checking my door to make sure it was locked. Even Milo sensed my unease, curling up on my chest and meowing softly. The next morning, I stopped at my favorite coffee shop before work. As I stepped inside, I froze. Sophie was there. She was sitting at my usual table, wearing the exact sweater I'd worn last week. She glanced up from her laptop, smiled sweetly, and waved. M. Fancy seeing you here. My throat went dry. This is my spot, Sophie. She tilted her head innocently. Oh, come on. A coffee shop isn't your property. What do you want? I asked, voice low. She leaned back, smirking. Just catching up. You've been ignoring me. Because you're crossing boundaries, I snapped. You're DMing my boyfriend, copying my life, and harassing me. Her smile faltered for just a moment before she plastered it back on. You're so dramatic, M. I just admire you. Is that so bad? I took a deep breath. Sophie, I'm serious. Stop this. Or I hesitated. I'll block you everywhere. I'll tell everyone what you're doing. Her expression hardened. You'd make me look crazy? After everything I've done for you? You're making yourself look crazy, I shot back. We stared at each other, tension crackling in the air. Finally, she stood, grabbed her laptop, and leaned in close enough for me to smell her perfume, my favorite scent, of course. You'll regret this, she whispered. I sat frozen for a moment after she left, heart hammering in my chest. People around me were laughing and chatting, oblivious to the storm brewing at my table. For the first time, I felt genuinely scared of Sophie. The next few days were a blur of paranoia. I kept seeing her everywhere, at the grocery store, at the gym, even near my apartment building. Every time I confronted her, she'd act like it was a coincidence. But then things escalated. I walked into work on Friday to find whispers spreading around the office. People were glancing at me, murmuring behind their hands. My coworker Lila finally pulled me aside. Hey, M, someone's been saying stuff about you. My stomach dropped. What kind of stuff? That you're controlling. That you're obsessed with your boyfriend. That you tried to ruin Sophie's career. Lila looked uncomfortable. I didn't believe it, but she's been telling people she had to cut you off because you were toxic. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Sophie wasn't just copying me anymore, she was rewriting the narrative. That night, I cried in Ryan's arms, my body shaking. She's ruining my reputation. She's turning people against me. And no one even knows what she's really like. Ryan rubbed my back soothingly. M, we're documenting everything. The messages, the photos, the fake accounts. If she keeps this up, we'll go to HR at your job, or even the police. I nodded, but deep down, I felt trapped. Sophie wasn't going to stop. She'd decided she wanted my life, and she wasn't afraid to burn me down to get it. The breaking point came 2 nights later. I came home from work, exhausted, and found an envelope taped to my apartment door. My name was written on it in neat, looping handwriting I recognized instantly. Hands trembling, I ripped it open. Inside was a single photo, me and Ryan at the rooftop bar, laughing. I didn't even remember the picture being taken. On the back, in Sophie's handwriting, were 3 words. I see you. I dropped the photo like it burned me, my heart pounding in my ears. Sophie wasn't just copying me anymore. She was stalking me. And I had no idea what she was going to do next. I didn't sleep that night. The photo sat on my kitchen counter like a cursed object, Sophie's handwriting burned into my mind. I see you. Ryan stayed over, pacing the apartment while I clutched Milo on the couch. M, this is crossing every line, he said, running a hand through his hair. We have proof. The fake accounts, the stalking, the note. We should go to the police. I nodded numbly. My whole body felt heavy, like I was moving through water. I'm scared, Ryan. What if she shows up again? What if she tries to hurt me? She won't, Ryan said firmly, sitting beside me. I won't let her. But you have to stop pretending she's just being petty. This is dangerous. Dangerous. That word settled in my chest like ice. The next morning, I called in sick to work and started documenting everything. Screenshots of Sophie's DMs to Ryan. The fake account messages. Photos of her copying my outfits and captions. The LinkedIn message to my boss. The envelope-and photo. Ryan helped me organize everything into a folder labeled Sophie Bennett harassment. Seeing it all laid out like evidence in a crime drama made my stomach turn. This is a lot, Ryan muttered. She's been at this for months, maybe years. I swallowed hard. I feel like I've been gaslighting myself this whole time. Like I thought I was just overreacting, but this is real. She's obsessed with me. That afternoon, Ryan and I went to the police station. I felt ridiculous walking in, clutching my folder of screenshots and printouts. A tired-looking officer took our statement, flipping through the photos and messages. This is concerning, he admitted. She hasn't physically harmed you yet, but this kind of behavior can escalate. We can file an incident report. If she contacts you again or shows up at your home or workplace, call us immediately. I left the station with a slip of paper and a pit in my stomach. It didn't feel like enough. Sophie was still out there, circling my life like a shark. 2 days later, I found out she'd applied for a job at my company. Emily, you didn't tell me your friend was looking for work here. Karen said brightly as she passed my desk. She's not my friend, I said through gritted teeth. Karen blinked. Oh. Well, she mentioned you two were close. She seems very eager to work with us. I excused myself and ran to the bathroom, locking myself in a stall. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. Sophie was trying to insert herself into every corner of my life, work, relationships, hobbies. She wanted everything I had. That night, I set my apartment alarms for the first time in months. Ryan stayed over again, sensing how anxious I was. Do you want me to get cameras for your hallway? He asked as we brushed our teeth side by side. Yes, I said without hesitation. And maybe for Milo's safety too. Ryan smiled softly. Milo's probably more capable than Sophie. I gave a weak laugh. True. He'd scratch her eyes out. But even Milo seemed restless that night, pacing the apartment while I tossed and turned. At one point, I woke to the sound of scratching at the front door. My heart pounded as I grabbed my phone and crept into the living room. There was nothing there. Just the faint sound of wind through the hallway. The next morning, I opened Instagram and froze. Sophie had posted a photo in front of my apartment building. The caption read, "Love this neighborhood," smiling face with hard eyes, thinking of moving here. My stomach flipped. She was closing in. I texted Ryan immediately. She's here. She knows where I live. He called me seconds later. I'm coming over. Don't open the door for anyone. Ryan arrived 30 minutes later with coffee and a determined expression. This is it. We're getting cameras, we're telling your landlord, and we're getting a restraining order if we have to. I nodded, tears stinging my eyes. I don't know how it got this bad, Ryan. We used to be so close. Ryan cupped my face gently. She doesn't want to be close to you, Em. She wants to be you. That's not friendship. That's obsession. That night, we installed a camera by my front door. Ryan showed me how to check the feed on my phone. Now if she shows up, we'll have proof, he said. I felt a tiny flicker of relief, until I woke up at 3 a.m. to a notification. Motion detected, front door. My heart hammered as I grabbed my phone. The footage showed a figure standing in the hallway. Sophie. She was wearing my old college hoodie, the one I thought I'd lost, and holding a small box. She bent down and placed it in front of my door, then looked directly into the camera with a chilling smile before walking away. My hand shook as I woke Ryan. She was here, I whispered. She left something. Ryan grabbed a baseball bat from under the bed, a ridiculous impulse buy he'd made when we first started dating, and checked the hallway while I watched from the peephole. He came back with the box and set it on the counter. Do we open it? He asked. I nodded nervously. Inside was a small framed photo of Sophie and me from college. On the back, in neat handwriting, she'd written, "Best friends forever. Don't forget that." I felt sick. The next day, I filed for a restraining order. The police took the footage and the box as evidence, promising to keep an eye on things. But Sophie wasn't slowing down. That evening, Ryan and I went to grab dinner at a little Italian restaurant near my apartment. We were halfway through our pasta when Ryan froze. She's here, he muttered. I turned to see Sophie standing at the bar, smiling at us like this was a casual run-in. She was wearing a dress I'd worn to a friend's wedding last summer. Hey, guys, she said brightly, walking over. What a coincidence. Ryan immediately stood. Sophie, you need to leave. Her smile faltered. Excuse me? You're stalking Emily. You need to stop. People were starting to stare. Sophie's expression hardened. Wow. So dramatic. I'm just saying hi. Leave, Ryan repeated firmly. Sophie glanced at me, her eyes cold. You've changed, Em. You used to love me. We used to be everything to each other. I felt a chill run down my spine. Sophie, please, I whispered. Just stop. She leaned in close, her voice barely audible. You can't erase me. Then she turned and walked out. I didn't touch my food after that. Ryan paid the bill quickly, and we walked home in silence. That night, I locked every door and window, clutching Milo while Ryan double-checked the hallway camera. I thought I could handle Sophie on my own, but I was wrong. She wasn't just copying me anymore. She was erasing me, piece by piece, trying to step into my life like I was disposable. And I knew, deep down, this was building to something. Something worse. I'd always thought restraining orders were like magic shields, that once you had one, the person tormenting you would simply stop. But Sophie didn't stop. She couldn't. It had been a week since the Italian restaurant incident, and things had only escalated. She'd been texting Ryan from burner numbers, emailing my boss with concerns about my performance, and even messaging my mom on Facebook with thinly veiled insults. She's unraveling, Ryan muttered one evening as we reviewed the growing pile of screenshots and police reports. It's only a matter of time before she does something drastic. That word, drastic, echoed in my mind all night. I barely slept, jumping at every creak of the apartment. Even Milo seemed unsettled, pacing near the door and flicking his tail. The next morning, I woke up to another motion alert from my hallway camera. My heart pounded as I opened the feed. The footage was grainy in the early dawn light, but there was no mistaking her silhouette. Sophie stood outside my apartment, holding a bouquet of flowers. She placed them gently on the ground, then pulled a red lipstick from her bag and began writing something on my door. By the time I'd shaken Ryan awake, she was gone. We opened the door to find a single word smeared in bright red lipstick. Mine. That was the moment I stopped being scared and started getting angry. This ends today, I whispered, trembling as Ryan scrubbed the word off the door. I'm done letting her control my life. Ryan squeezed my hand. Whatever you want to do, I'm with you. We decided I wouldn't stay home that day. I'd go to work, keep everything normal, and Ryan would be on standby. I was barely settled at my desk when Karen came rushing over, wide-eyed. Emily, there's someone here asking for you, she whispered. My stomach dropped. Who? Karen hesitated. She said her name is Sophie. My blood ran cold. I grabbed my phone, texting Ryan as Karen nervously led me toward the lobby. Sophie was standing there, dressed in one of my favorite blouses, a pale blue silk top I'd worn during a big client presentation. She was holding a box of cookies, smiling sweetly at the receptionist. She chirped as soon as she saw me. Surprise. What are you doing here? I asked, my voice sharp. Her smile faltered. I just wanted to apologize. I thought maybe we could talk. In my office? At my job? I hissed. She blinked innocently. I brought cookies. Karen shot me a worried look. I grabbed Sophie's arm and guided her toward the elevators. We're going outside, I muttered. As soon as we stepped into the parking lot, Sophie's demeanor shifted. The fake smile melted away, replaced with something darker. You're making this harder than it has to be, she said softly. My heart pounded. Sophie, I'm asking you one last time, leave me alone. Her eyes narrowed. You don't mean that. You need me. You wouldn't even be who you are if it weren't for me. I made you. I took a shaky step back. You're not well. You need help. She laughed, a cold, bitter sound. I'm the one who needs help. You're the one who's trying to erase me. But I won't let you. I won't let him take you from me either. Who? I asked, though I already knew. Ryan, she spat. He doesn't deserve you. I do. Before I could react, Sophie lunged forward, grabbing my wrist. Stop. I yelped, trying to pull away. She tightened her grip, her nails digging into my skin. You're mine, Em. You've always been mine. I was frozen for a split second, until I heard Ryan's voice. Let her go. Sophie spun around, startled. Ryan was sprinting toward us, two security guards right behind him. In the chaos, Sophie released me, backing away as the guards closed in. This isn't over, she screamed as they restrained her. You can't get rid of me. You are me. Her voice echoed through the parking lot as they dragged her away. I collapsed into Ryan's arms, shaking. She grabbed me. I know, he said, holding me tight. You're safe now. She's not going to hurt you again. The police arrived shortly after, and this time, they took everything seriously. With the footage, the lipstick on my door, and the physical altercation, Sophie was arrested for stalking and harassment. When they led her away in handcuffs, she didn't look scared. She looked furious. Like I'd betrayed her. The days that followed were a blur of paperwork and phone calls. I got a permanent restraining order, changed my locks, and installed even more cameras around my apartment. Karen was surprisingly supportive, even giving me time off to recover. Ryan practically moved in, determined to keep me safe. But the emotional fallout was harder to deal with. I kept replaying our friendship in my head, late-night study sessions, laughing over wine, comforting each other through breakups. When had Sophie stopped being my best friend and started being my shadow? Had I missed the signs, or had I just refused to see them? A week after Sophie's arrest, I got a letter from her in jail. My hand shook as I opened it. Emily. You've ruined everything. I loved you more than anyone else ever could. You'll see that one day. When everyone else leaves, I'll still be here. Because I'm the only one who truly knows you. I am you. S. I ripped the letter in half and threw it in the trash. That night, Ryan and I sat on the couch with Milo curled between us. You okay? He asked gently. I leaned against him, tears welling in my eyes. I don't know if I'll ever feel okay again. She was supposed to be my best friend. Ryan kissed my forehead. She wasn't your friend, Em. Friends don't destroy your life. I nodded, burying my face in his chest. I'd cut Sophie out of my life for good. But the scars she'd left, emotional and otherwise, would take a long time to heal. Still, as I sat there in Ryan's arms, safe for the first time in weeks, I made myself a promise. I would never ignore red flags again. What do you think? Was Emily right to cut Sophie off, or should she have tried harder to help her? Let us know in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video. Bell subscribe for more Reddit-style drama, AITA sagas, and jaw-dropping stories. Loudspeaker share with friends who love wild friendship drama.